Some phones are going off. Hello and welcome back to KB Terrace Talk, where it seems there's an emergency freaking UK government's issuing some wildfire emergencies as we speak. That's hilarious.
Oh, I've got it now.
I am LHAS. That is Ben. And tonight, as you can see from the name of the... Oh, God, that's going to really annoy me. The name of the FPL Show, where tonight we're going to be covering some players to avoid, as well as some things we've learned in the last few years. So, I mean, personally, I can speak to some things that I have definitely learned from last season. Mm-hmm. Ben, I hear you're a bit more confident in how you've been from last year.
Yes, I am a bit more confident. I'm not going to get minus points this season. I think I've learned from that, obviously with the World Cup thing. So, I think I've definitely improved from this year. No, from last year, sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. Love the confidence. So, when it comes to players to avoid, I'm just going to bring up a few players on my phone just for reference, because I've got my team. I'm not wanting to give away teams yet. We're still 1 week away from the season starting, but let's have a look through positionally some players you may want to avoid. So we're going to start off with goalkeeper. Can you think of anyone that wouldn't be exactly the best fit outside of, say, your obvious Hull City goalkeeper, maybe?
Maybe like the new promoted goalkeepers like Coventry and Ipswich. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of avoid them early on because they don't know how they're going to adapt to the Premier League. So yeah,
Coventry especially, they've got Arsenal and Man City as two of their first 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
So Coventry, that is a trial by fire waiting to happen. But we'll note, sometimes those goalkeepers are high risk, high reward. I think it's Dubravka the last few years has ended up with the most saves and sort of gets points that way. But I do heed your point that, some of these run-ins, your Rushworth, who played so well for... I think Brian Van Dam was talking about him yesterday about how he's annoyed they got him on a permanent.
Yeah.
So you got players like that suddenly he could be the... I'm trying to think, what's the name? Is it Neil Everidge, the Cardiff keeper from a few years back?
Aye.
Yeah, he pulled off some great saves in the Premier League on their one campaign there. Got a fair few points that way. So, it is high risk, high reward. You don't want to go too early on that, but there's not the most harm as such if you're trying to keep costs down and want a cheap goalkeeper.
Yeah.
But for the same price, you can get Kinski is the popular one on that sort of price range. Looking at someone else like, Pickford at 5.5, to me, yes, he makes a lot of saves. But, I think Everton are actually going to be quite good this year, but, will they keep clean sheets? Will that be the way they go about it? Maybe not. So you also have your backup Arsenal goalkeepers at 5 mil for Arrizabalaga and Meslier. Absolutely not. Yes, I did, Callum. That was the start of this video. If I'm being honest, was just a jump scare.
I think everybody got it. So that was a bit of a noisy start, but we move on.
Absolutely. Some players. I know one person who's very happy with how these goalkeepers panned out, and that's fellow co-host of the show, Luke Birch, who I believe he said last night managed to judge the Trafford signing for Leeds perfectly. He got him at his backup for City price, and then he suddenly popped up as upped in price. So I don't know whether it's ended up with Birchie already having an increase on his budget or whether it ate into his budget. Mm-hmm. But if he got the benefit pre-season of gaining about 0.5 mil, then happy days, fair play to him. Let's progress. Some defenders. Saliba's an obvious one to avoid. He's long-term injured. Timber. But is there anyone you aren't looking too keen at in terms of the defence?
Yeah, I think I'm just looking at the team here, and I've got Tarkowski. I don't think he's going to make an impact for Everton. So I'm too unclear. I don't know what your thoughts on that.
It kind of links to what I was saying about Pickford, really. Like if Everton start leaking goals, he might well get the defensive contribution points to try and bolster him up. But it's whether they start to phase out someone like a Tarkowski this season. You know, your Mukiele's worth a lot more than he was last year. Do we think Sunderland are suddenly going to maintain with Europe their records as Sunderland defenders and the likes of where I'm going, can we trust them as much as we did last year? Because they really did fall off towards the end of last year.
Yep. Yeah.
So, I have them sitting probably around 15th, 16th come the end of the season, staying up, but I don't think they'll be flying as high as they were last year.
Yep, and I also have got a Tottenham player in there by the name of Senesios, or that's the name. What do you think to having him in your team?
See, I don't think I'd want him in my FPL team the opening couple of weeks personally. Just for the reasoning of we don't know if he's going to be starting, and he is worth $6 million, if I'm not mistaken. He had a great season at Bournemouth, and for $6 million, he was probably the best defender FPL wise last year for the likes of the DEFCON points and everything. But is De Zerbi going to want to run Van Hecker and Van der Ven? Is Van der Ven going to play left back and then it's Senesi and Van Hecker? We don't know. Once we start to see a pattern with that, then I'll be comfortable committing to that. So got a few comments to just sort of jump back in on here. Got Real Phil Smith with Evening Luke and Ben. Jake RUFC saying yes, Ben. So he agrees with some of your decisions so far. Damn, 200 jewels from Real Phil Smith. Thank you so much. He said jamming alongside that. So, you still haven't done your team yet. You still got plenty of time. Starts next week. Sort of trying to give some general advice on who you could potentially avoid. Yeah, Callum, you're not wrong. I saw a pop up on my phone the first time, and I think my dad's phone's in here as well, and decided it's going to play it on loudspeaker, and I'm just going to have to deal with it. So, yeah, it definitely sounded like World War III on that regard. Yeah, Senesi, if Senesi plays regularly, it could absolutely be a great FPL signing. I just think for $6 million, you want a little bit more guaranteed the opening couple weeks, personally.
Yeah.
Another one, like your Arsenal defenders, I think they're the ones that are a bit like hit and miss as well. Not in terms of it's just the rotation of who's going to play. You see your Ben White. Is Ben White going to play because Timber's out? But will it be Calafiori or Hincapié playing fullback? I've got Mosquera in, I'll say at the moment, but he might not play. Like it's trying to figure out who's going to be starting. Talkfan TV is saying he's got his EFL Championship fantasy done. Which, I've not been keeping track of that. I know we've got predictions leagues up and down for the punditry. And if anyone actually wants the actual league code, I'll see if I can grab the league code for the pundits, for actually KB Terrace Talk. And I'll get that put up midway through the show. But in the meantime, who do you think in terms of the midfield? It can be someone risky that you think's not going to perform, or you think's going to have an off season. Maybe they have a tough start to their schedule.
I've got what about in Bremer against Hull? Do you think it's? Do you think it's a right game for him to put him in your fantasy into your fantasy team?
Well, I mean, United are going to be favourites for this. It's
Yes.
truth be told, United are going to be favourites. It's the thing with me about Mbuemo is he started to feel like the odd man out towards the end of last season.
Yeah.
He started really hot under Amorim. When Carrick's sort of been in, it felt like it's been more like, your Cunha maybe. Like Sesko, I mean, I think it says Sesko has a knock, and that's going to be more attacker. Bruno Fernandes feels like a must with the fixture list the way it is. We've got Phil Smith saying here that he thinks Tariq Murahamovic for Leeds is going to be insane this season. Thinks could be an option in people's teams. I mean, I have Leeds finishing fairly high up. I think I had them as high as 9th. I'd have to refer to my table. Was it 9th? It was. So I had them finishing as high as 9th. So that absolutely could be. He's also saying Mbuemo was great against Leeds. I'm presuming that was in the preseason game just a few days ago. Or are you talking back in the actual season here, Phil? But the thing is, we can try and predict as much as we want. Are we getting Facebook and X comments? I don't think we've got anything through on X yet, and I don't even think we're actually live on Facebook. I didn't see the KB Terrace Talk Facebook on there, so I don't know if we've temporarily moved that or whether it's purely Bushy's one, because I did see Bushy's Facebook was on there. But yeah, the preseason game the other night, I'll put up a little longer. So yeah, we are live on X, but nothing coming through at the moment in terms of comments. Not sure if that's an issue or if that's just people sort of not commenting at the time. I think tell people to comment on YouTube, guys. There was an issue. Yeah. So anyone that is watching on X, if you want to come through to the YouTube channel, it'll be KB Terrace Talk, and obviously search that up. Should be able to find the live stream quite easily. And yeah, absolutely more than welcome to hop in. Give your thoughts, whether you think there's some players we're missing that we should be avoiding, whether there's going to be players you actually think we should pick up. For me, Declan Rice, I think, is one that you give a while. Like, he's, as much as, people be saying, oh, you're a Spurs fan, this, that, and the other. We saw how he looked for England at times throughout the tournament. He needs a rest. Whether he's going to have fully recovered from where he was, things like that might take time. So it is one of those that I personally would give it a little while before you sort of start putting your Declan Rice back in. What's your thoughts on maybe Bruno G, Ben? Do you reckon Bruno G is going to fit in well at Arsenal?
Yeah, I think he's going to fit in really well. It's a big step up from Newcastle, but yeah, I think he will do very well for them. I think he's got loads of experience, so I think he'll do well. But all I just say is it is a big step up for him.
Absolutely agree. I'm just scrolling through trying to see if we can find any other sort of hidden gem sort of players down here. I mean, you see now Dorgu's officially become a midfielder rather than defender. We will get to that in a second. I'll highlight that comment in a second for Phil Smith there. Right. Who would I personally avoid of these? Just Saka as well. Like how Saka needs a bounce back year. And it depends how much, obviously, you believe in it. I'm on the fence, but at times that man can be an absolute wonder kid. At other times, he struggles. But I wonder how much drive's going to be there from Arsenal this year. They got their big trophy. They got the Premier League. Their focus will be, obviously, they want to retain it, but, the Champions League is going to be their main thing. They got the dog off the leash, I guess. Well, I can't think of what acronym I'm going to use here or what turn of phrase, but they don't have to worry about the Premier League as much. They are favourites, but for them, Champions League to be more of a priority. So I feel of the big names that say, well, I think your City wingers in general, I said they're finishing 7th. Said that last night as a hot take. I think your City midfielders are going to struggle, and it's going to be mostly the Haaland show if they are doing actually anything. So, I mean, I'll cover what Phil Smith said. Do you think Haaland's a must again? I think pretty much has to be. You know, you've got the budget a lot of the time. You know, there's not many expensive top tier players. You've got Haaland, you've got Fernandes. They're the only two over 10 mil, I'm pretty certain. And then after that, you've got a fair few in the 9 range. You've got Gabriel 8. It feels like the amount of stuff that's sitting there, Haaland feels like a must, even if you just otherwise you got things burning in the back of your pocket, really, the money. It's not like there's someone like a Salah to spread it on or someone like that because he's now gone. There's no sort of superstar winger, really, unless you're going Saka. Jake's saying that he would avoid Igor Thiago. I personally do agree. I do not rate Thiago going into this season. I think personally he's going to be in a situation where he got a lot of penalties last year. Are Brentford going to do the same? Will he be like we saw how he looked for Brazil? Like, I think you might. Were you even on that broadcast, Ben? The Brazil one, first game.
Which one was it?
Morocco, Brazil, I think it was.
No, I don't think I was.
And the reason I'm saying is because I know you're on a fair few of the early ones with me.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, in that game, he looked entirely pedestrian. But I think he's going to be a Me Too situation, personally. You know, a lot of hype would have been built up around him. And then after that, it's sort of all going to come crashing down. And he's, you know, he'll do okay, but he's not going to put up the 22, 23 that he put up last year. And he doesn't bring much in terms of creativity. He only got 1 assist, I think. So, you know, if the goals fall off, I think he's going to be a one-season wonder, personally. And, I mean, Jake's in agreement, or is at least looking for confirmation. That's what I'm trying to say here. Yeah. Would you have Haaland over Bruno Fernandes? I mean, with the amount of players there to spend big on, I think you can easily fit both in, really. But if I'm prioritizing one, looking at their early season games, you know, Bournemouth, Palace, Coventry for Haaland, and for United, Hull, Ipswich, Everton. I mean, personally, I would go Man United player, and it's going to be Bruno over Haaland. But I don't see a world where you don't take both, really. What do you think, Ben?
Well, personally, I'll take Haaland over Fernandes because I think he's going to get you. I think Haaland's going to get you just about more points than Bruno, but I don't know what Manchester City's first couple of games are.
So Bournemouth at home, Crystal Palace away, and Coventry at home.
Well, I think take him out for the Coventry game because it's less game. They are when Coventry are a newly promoted side, so I think for the first 2 games, yes, but I think Coventry, leave him out and see how you get on.
Okay, so what do you think? You think Haaland's going to struggle? Wait, do you think he's going to feast against Coventry, or you think he's going to struggle against Coventry?
I think he's going to feast against Coventry.
You think he's going to feast? Oh, absolutely, get him in for that one. Gotcha. So I wanted to double check because I was starting to trip up and think. I'm glad we clarified. Right, Phil's in. Welcome in, Phil. Haaland, I think he's going to. You think he's going to bum out this season? Think it's going to be a season for the midfielders. I mean, with the budget available, you can get a lot of top. If by not having Haaland, you can take so many top quality players. It's a question of who you back. Do you back, say, your Saka? Do you think Chelsea can have a bounce back with their dual tens of Palmer and Rodgers? How well are they going to link up together? So, I mean, the midfield is where a lot of the money can be spent, unless you're spending it on Isak or Watkins, I think, are the only other expensive attackers. So midfield being the priority makes sense. I think, Phil's talking sense. City have got to win every game there. Then of those three, they will most likely win all three of those games. They are heavy favourites in those. I mean, I have Palace on for relegation. Bournemouth, first game back. Bournemouth might still be kicking a little bit. They're not going to have the burn out of Europe yet. Phil saying Phil's back. Got Jake coming in with some players that he's looking at for his team. So he's got Kinski, Maguire, Calafiori, Gay as a starting. This is starting 11, I believe. Tonali, Szoboszlai, Semenyo, Bruno, Haaland, João Pedro, and Voltemada. Definitely some interesting names in there. Voltemada, that is an interesting one. Now, how much is Voltemada going for these days? 6 mil.
6 mil.
I
mean,
go. Sorry.
Sorry. Do you think 6 million? If you've got more than 8 million, is it more risk of putting him on or going for lesser striker for the opening rounds? But I'm none the wiser, to be honest.
Well, the thing with Newcastle at the moment is obviously new manager in, which I forget his name. I think it's like Yassel or something like that. It's going to be what he suits, whether he's going to want to have, say, what's his Voltemada, or I'm trying to think of his name, Visser. You got options at striker for Newcastle. They weren't great last year. They even still have, I think, William Asula. So you've got options. They're all the same price. It's just who's he going to pick. One that's popular is your Brian Brobby. He's 16% of people selected him as their 6 million striker. But yeah, I'd say that's a solid team. Voltemada, I mean, hey, people have differential picks. If that works out and Voltemada does well, then you look like an absolute genius. Phil confirming he's back. A nice little Phil on Phil conversation here, filling each other in. I hope you all had a love. He's got a solid midfield this season. Yeah, and you do generally as a Forest fan as well. Even though you got rid of Anderson, you've replaced well. Dusty Miller's hopped in, and he's confirmed comments are not working on X. Not sure what's happening with that, whether it's... I don't know if general comments on X have been disabled, as whether it's just on the live streams or what's happening. Jake saying that Voltemada's the only one he's not sure on. I mean, the rest of them will start. Tonali should get defensive contribution points and the like. So, yeah, it makes sense that that's the only one you're not sure on. But as people say, differential picks are there for a reason. If it pays off huge sometimes. So, Phil being generous, saying he'll come on next week and tell the squad. Because that'll be on the dawn of the new season. So the day before, I believe, Phil's now promising to come on and let us know his new squad. As for strikers, I would say to avoid. Because I don't think we actually covered a striker. We said Igor Thiago. Did you have anyone that you're not too fond of?
Right. I've got Thiago up front, but I'm unsure about Ollie Watkins.
Okay.
For Villa. Do you think he's going to be in full fitness? I mean, did he play in the Super Cup final?
I didn't actually check that, but I can find out Aston Villa starting 11.
Because if he has, is he going to be up to full fitness? Is he going to be back up to full fitness in time for the first Premier League match?
Looking through this, Watkins do not believe started. Bizot, Cash, Lindelof, Torres, Maatsen, McGinn, Gomez, Kamara, Hemmings, Buendia, and Maggio. So that's what I've been seeing. Maggio, that 17-year-old, he's been getting some minutes. So I know that's some people's differential pick. Phil's saying avoid Voltamada. Now there's some interfight. They're no longer on talk in terms of the Phils. He's saying no one's interested, Phil. You didn't win last season and you finished above you. Fight and talk. Season's not even started and we got fight and talk. Then we got Jake saying he backed Rodgers when he first signed for Villa and it paid off big time. There's been some players like that. Sure, we're talking way back right now. But Manolo Gabbiadini for Southampton's one that paid off back in the day when he first joined for me. Well, I guess having had a look through, some players that we would avoid, some that we would take, I guess it's only sensible to talk about what we've learned from previous seasons. So, Ben, you joined us on the FPL show for the first time, I believe, last January.
This January, yes.
This January, sorry, apologies. So what would you say you learned in your time since January? Whether it was through the initial launch of the FPL show when you came on, that you would do either things you do differently or things that you've sort of picked up from sort of watching along. Or even from the World Cup, actually, as well, if there's anything you picked up from the World Cup FPL.
World Cup, I didn't finish last, which was a nice welcome break. But I've learned not to do many transfers, not to use my picks too early on in the season like I did last season. And I just learned not to pick up too many minus points each week. So I think I've learned a lot.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I need to stop doing is I need to stop buying the hype. There's a few too many times where I've jumped the gun and gone, this person did great this week, and then suddenly, I've left myself with someone that now he had a great one game and then fell off. So, don't buy into the hype too early. Sometimes it's better to sort of hold the line and sort of see what happens a week or two from then before finally getting a player. Same time, what I'll say is last year I shot my wild card week 2 and I actually had a good week 1. Turns out my week 1 team would have done better in week 2 than the one I changed it to. And then I was down a wild card and it was not the greatest. So even if I've got struggles when it comes to my transfers and things like that, it's not to just panic and throw a chip at it. We do get them twice a year, all the chips. So just as much as you have them available, don't just throw them out there and panic.
Because it's going to cost you early on. It's going to cost
absolutely. You have an injury crisis suddenly happen and you've no longer got a wild card. You've got to then gradually, week by week, try and get rid of these players long-term injured. So probably try and save your wild card for somewhere in the, week 9, week 12 sort of range, somewhere that it's going to be making a difference, but at the same time, you're not leaving yourself marooned, and you might have some saved up transfers for future weeks anyway. Let's have a look through some of the other comments on here. So that's fine. RPS, you can go on. Duck, clearly better than me. This is more Phil on Phil action. Absolutely loving it. I probably shouldn't have brought that one up really, but that's what happens when you click before you read. But then they're being humble. You'll do better than me this season. He's not even looked at his team. So he's got some help as Phil Smith, but he's not really looked yet. Jake's saying so relatable. I think that was during some of the mistakes with chips. And then also, you know for well he is. I do my first team and his reaction's hilarious. So I think that's going to be it from this week. Obviously, by the time we are here next week, it will be one day before the season starts. And, it'll be pretty freaking close. We'll pretty much be locked in, barring anyone's last-minute panics.
Hang on a minute. Is there a game on the Friday night or something?
If there is, then we will already be locked in. It would make sense, actually, for there to be a Friday night game. I presume it'd actually be Arsenal versus Coventry. But let's have a look.
Arsenal versus Coventry.
Prem game. Opening Prem game of the season. Yeah, Friday is Arsenal versus Coventry, champion versus champion. So, yeah, that'll be interesting. We'll basically be locked in. By the time that game's kicking off, we'll already start to know how one of our sort of games is looking. John saying 2 weeks. I mean, he's also slagging off Spurs and hoping the team bus falls apart. But 2 weeks. I mean, is it?
Huh?
Prem opening game.
But it's next week. It's the 22nd, I think.
Yeah, 22nd's next week, John. Hate to break that news. The Friday the 21st is when the season opens. So it's coming around sooner than everyone thinks. So by the time we're actually live next week, we'll be clashing with the Arsenal versus Coventry game. Or at least half an hour beforehand. So that'll be all from me. I think we've got one last question for you, Ben. I don't know if you actually have an answer to this. But we've got Jake saying, what's your Prem team if you have one?
It's yet to be unveiled.
Yet to be unveiled? Fair enough. Maybe we'll get some progress on that as the season sort of comes up.
Yep.
But I think that's going to be all from us this week. And by the time we're live next week, we'll be all locked in. It'll be at least the hour before kickoff where suddenly everyone's teams are locked. And we'll find out who's made some good decisions, who's made some bad decisions, and whether that Voltemada up top pick pays off for Jake. So, I've been RJS. That has been RUFC Ben.
Yeah.
And we will see you potentially next week.